Title slide of a PowerPoint presentation. Hello and welcome to the Mastering Pears series, September 2023. This video is brought to you by CalFresh Healthy Living, the California Department of Public Health, and the Nutrition Policy Institute. In this video, we'll be working through a slide deck titled Making Partnerships Accomplishments and Lessons Learned Fields More Effective. Throughout the video, we will cover best practices for maximizing the accomplishments and lessons learned sections of the Pears Partnerships module. Slide showing text of common mistake and best practice. The first thing we'd like to highlight in this video is how commonly we see folks omit their accomplishments and lessons learned, sometimes entering a placeholder like NA or later. We want to encourage you to document your milestones here, no matter how small they might seem. In fact, if you find yourself unable to think of an accomplishment, even a small one, you should consider whether this is actually an active partnership that should be reported. And as for lessons learned, we'd like to challenge you to use this as a place for some reflection. Was something more challenging than expected? Perhaps you discovered a new strength? This is a good place to briefly document tidbits like this. Pro tip: if you are using placeholder text like later or edit with the intention of filling in more information towards the end of the year, we ask that you simply leave the field blank. That way, when you return at the end of the year to complete the entry, Pears will prompt you to fill in this information before marking the entry complete. Slide showing text of common mistake and best practice. The second thing we'd like to flag is ambiguous entries. When inputting entries into Pears, we're looking for you to provide enough detail that someone unfamiliar with the work could understand that entry. Consider a few questions before you wrap up these entries. Is your entry written in complete sentences with checked spelling? Have you provided details surrounding the time frame you are referencing, specifically, what fiscal year you are referring to? This helps us catch if an entry might have accidentally been copied and not appropriately edited. Do you spell out any acronyms that may not be familiar to other SNAP-Ed professionals? Slide showing text of common mistake and best practice. One more thing to think about is making sure that these fields are updated annually. Many of you take advantage of Pears Copy feature to streamline your partnership data entry, and we are glad this is helpful to you. However, it's really important to make sure that you use these fields to talk about what is happening in the current reporting year. Slide showing an example entry for the accomplishments field and considerations for improvement in the form of a decorative flow chart. Okay, let's work through a couple examples to see how we could improve entries based on the points we just discussed. In this first example, someone has opted to leave their accomplishments field blank. Like we discussed in the previous slide, we are looking for this field to be a place where you input milestones, both big and small. If you really can't think of anything to report in this field, we encourage you to consider whether this partnership should be entered as an active partnership at all. But what if you have just established your partnership and you haven't gotten around to doing much of anything yet? In this case, we would say that you do have an accomplishment to report. Input the details surrounding the establishment of this new partnership in the accomplishment field. Slide showing an example entry for the lessons learned field and considerations for improvement in the form of a decorative flow chart. In this example, someone has inputted the word scheduling as their response to the lessons learned section. It's a great start that this person has decided to make an entry, but it's unclear to us what this means. A better entry might say, "We learned that coordinating schedules of partners was a major, ongoing challenge. We plan to try X to manage this in the future." This entry is composed of complete sentences and gives us enough information to understand what was learned. It's still brief, but much more powerful. Slide showing an example entry for the accomplishments field and considerations for improvement in the form of a decorative flow chart. In this final example, someone has inputted Parks RX Day as their response to the accomplishments section. How could this entry be more informative? A great first step would be expanding this entry to be at least one complete sentence. Is this an event that is in planning stages, or did it already happen? If it has already happened, when and where was it? How has the partnership contributed to the Parks RX Day? It could also be helpful for the entry to define what a Parks RX Day is. This entry might read, our LHD collaborated with the City Parks Department to host a Parks Prescription Day on X date and at Y locations where we did Z. Conclusion slide. A QR code is pictured with the label, Scan Me. Alright, that's it for this video. We hope that it was helpful. If you have any more questions about this or other topics, please reach out via email to evaluatesnaped@ucam.edu. If you can, please take a moment to scan the QR code provided to give us feedback on this video, and to help us improve future resources. Thank you.